So as I said, I'm going to introduce our company as well. Mentor Ahabis, we are passionate about empowering entrepreneurs and it's something we started this work of empowering entrepreneurs. We started 15 years ago and we have been physical most of the time. And we are now just getting into being online because we realized being online, you reach more people, and that's what we are experiencing now. You reach more people. It is even cheaper to be online, but we are also getting requests for physical. We don't say no to that, but we want to also be online because of the reasons. So I don't know whether you can see that. That is about our company, Mentor Ahabis. We have programs. This webinar that we run every Friday morning from 8 a.m. is just one of the activities that we have. I hope you can read that. We are passionate about empowering entrepreneurs. That's our motto or our mission. And those are our programs. Identifying profitable business concepts is one of our programs that we do. And then turning those concepts into an action plan, coming up with a business plan. And we also, number 3, we have business growth strategies for those people who have businesses. Finance made simple. Not everyone is a finance person, so we have finance made simple, build a brand, people will love. That is about marketing, train team that deliver. Staff is a critical area that businesses struggle with. Customer service that sells. Master stock taking, very, very important, stock taking. Yeah, because you're able to know in time what stock you have when it's running out. We also have something on buying your supplies right. That's very, very important. It's for business growth. Then we have mentorship. And this is for your growth hack. Yeah. If you want to grow your business, running a business is not easy. And so if you want to do it without missing anything, a mentor makes all the difference. A mentor makes. There has been a research which was done, and it has shown that startups, they only last for 3 months and then they close. And that is why a mentor was found to be very, very important. So, our programs in the last 15 years, we always do mentorship. We have a team of mentors we work with. Yeah, and it made a difference in making those businesses grow and survive. So that is us there. And I'm the contact person. That is our contact number. And I'm on TikTok. I'm sharing tips at Dr. Jane. I'm on Instagram, Jane Munene, Facebook, Jane W. Munene. Yeah, you can find me there, follow me, and get the tips that I share often. I don't know whether there is any comment up to here, any comment, any question about our company? As I said, today we are getting into part 3 of our topic because we have already been covering part 1 and part 2 on how to spot business concepts. And we insist that business concepts, they are always around us. Yeah, where you live and places you visit. And we have already discussed these strategies. And our assumption at this point is those people who have been following the topic, they must be having like 20 business concepts so far, as we discussed. So you have 20 business concepts at this point, at this part 3 of this YouTube channel. If you have gone through the strategies, because we have already discussed these strategies, and because of time, we won't go back into that. We are at a point where, you have, most likely, you have 20 concepts. So how do you move on from there? So you have to now put these concepts into an analysis. So we are going to be discussing how to analyze the concepts. Yeah. One thing you need to ask yourself a number of questions. For example, which needs do you want to satisfy for the customer if you implement that concept? Which needs will your products or service satisfy for the customer? And even what product and services do your customers want? Yeah, it could be a very good and exciting concept, but customer is key here. So what do they want? What quality of products do your customers want? What information do you have about these products and services that are arising from that concept that you have, come across? And you have to think also about the environment, yeah? What positive or negative impact do your product or service have on the environment? Yeah? And as I said, we are not going a lot into the details because of time also. So we have put together a booklet on this, which will be providing a link sometimes, maybe towards the end of the series of these topics. Yeah. Another question that you could ask yourself is, who will your customers for these products be? And are those customers going to be enough? Yeah. Who are your competitors and what are their strengths and weaknesses? Some of these concepts, they may not be very, very new, 100%, so there could be some competitors and what are their strengths so that you differentiate yourself. How will you be able to supply the quality of products customers want? How much do you know about the quality of products customers want? How does running this kind of business suit your personal characteristic? Personal characteristic is one factor that we discussed, I think, in part 1 of this series, that, some businesses suit certain people and not others. So you could revisit that, I think, in part 1 and see what we said. Yeah, you're still analyzing these concepts because you don't want to fail. Starting a business is expensive. You put in money for premises and other licensing. So that's why this kind of analysis is very, very important. Another question you could ask yourself, how do you know there's need for this concept in your area, in your country? Is there really need for that? Where can you get advice or information about this concept? Remember, you're still at the concept stage, and so you are thinking and analyzing. Will this be the only kind of business in your area? And if there are other businesses, how will you compete? Yeah, how does this business need equipment, staff, premises, and do you have finances? And how will you get the finances? Yeah, it could be a very exciting concept, but will you afford it? What is your competitive advantage? Competitive advantages, how unique is it going to be? Or are you just going to do what everyone else is doing? Or are you going to do something that can be copied very, very quickly? Competitive advantage, very, very important, because if it can be copied quickly, then you run out of business, shortly, maybe in 2, 3 years' time. Other people are doing the same thing you are doing. So very important to think about competitive advantage. Yeah. I give an example of people who make sausages, there are certain sausages that taste very unique, and you can't find them anywhere else in the world. Even if you visit other countries, you still miss those sausages. That is competitive advantage. They have a unique formula of making that sausage, so it can't easily be copied. And so people like it for a long time, and these are things to think about. Yeah. This is a point of analysis for your concept. Can your business save by recycling or reusing inputs? Remember, we are at a time of climate challenges, so the concept that you come across, can it contribute to recycling and reusing of inputs, So once you do that kind of analysis, then you can choose the best 3 ideas or best 3 concepts and analyze them further. Yeah. And go through the list again. Maybe there are those that no longer appeal to you. Not anything positive or negative about starting, this or taking these concepts forward. And choose 3 concepts that you want to analyze further. You need to get more information about the market for those ideas. And I could pause at this point and ask if there's any questions, any comment. So remember, we are still at the analysis. You could do a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is you look at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of each of the 3 best ideas. Yeah. For example, one of the strengths could be the proposed business location is at a high foot traffic. Yeah, you get a concept. And the location that you think about has very high traffic. That is a strength. Yeah. A weakness could be rentals are very high, in the location where you want to implement your concept, the rentals. How will you deal with that? How will you deal with that? It's good to spot the weaknesses and begin to think of how you'll handle them, because then will affect your profit margin. Opportunities. An example is prices for alternative products are always going high. So more people will choose your product or they'll pick your concept. That is an opportunity. What about threats? You realize there is high import costs. Maybe your concept, you need to import some of the stuff to make it or to manufacture, whatever it is. But you realize there'll be high import costs. Maybe you want to sell at a certain occasion, and then you learn that there is a planned second-hand market for similar products at your proposed location. That is a threat, you know. So it's very, very important to collect as much information and to analyze so that you know all these threats, opportunities, and then ask yourself, are there more opportunities than threats? Maybe one way of handling the threat is also finding a space at that second-hand market that will happen, maybe once a week on a Sunday. You can also go there, find, that is one way, because some of the threats, there's very little you can do about it. Yeah? You really have to think ahead about some of these factors. Yeah. I don't know whether there's any question, any comment. Something else you could do is a field study. Field study. Yeah? Where you are going to be talking to potential customers, potential suppliers. You're going to talk to members of business community. You can gather information on factors that could affect your business concept. Remember, this kind of study, this kind of finding out, investigation, you can do it for 6 months, even 1 year. Why? Yeah. I think the more you are doing this, you are beginning to behave like a successful entrepreneur. Yeah. So you can arrange informal meetings so that you just chat. You can visit business people. The visits and meetings will take time. This will take a lot of your time, but you're already acting like a successful entrepreneur. And the people you talk to will depend on your business concept. Yeah, remember, you're not telling them about your business concept. You're just finding information. You even visit potential competitors. Yeah. So the people you talk to are determined by your business concept. So what if you are thinking of making products you want to manufacture? You have to find out how it is made, what equipment will be needed, and premises, suppliers of materials, and people who sell the equipment. You will also talk to potential customers, because you want to test whether this concept is a good concept. So ask yourself, who would be my customers be? Are they going to be young people? Are they going to be old people? Are they going to be rich people? Are they going to be poor people? Are they going to be men? Are they going to be women? Are they going to be from rural, from urban places? So you really need to take time, talk to potential customers in your chosen market segment. Note their details, their age, gender, estimate their incomes, Are they going to afford what you are coming to sell? Or what you want to do? Yeah. You can also talk to key informants. By the way, these are research methods of collecting data. Talking to key informants. This is where you choose just a few people. These people have the right information. They know a lot about, they are likely to know a lot about your concept. These could be companies, they could be government agencies, they could be cooperatives. And when you're conducting these interviews, let discussions flow naturally. Ask permission to write. Or you can write later. Writing is very threatening when you are interviewing people. Yeah. You can write. I prefer writing later because once you start writing, it blocks that discussion. Yeah, you can use open-ended questions. Who, what, where, how. Not closed ones, Closed questions is where you just get a yes, or a no. For example, when you ask, are you satisfied with this product? You're asking some customers about a product that they are using already because you want to bring a new one, a better one. So you start asking, are you satisfied with this product? What are they going to say? They're just going to say yes or no, not much information. So you can ask open-ended questions like, how satisfied are you with this product? That one is going to bring a lot of information for you. The other thing, ask one question at a time. Uh, you know, for example, how much profit do you make on each order? Don't ask how much profit do you make on each order and how much do you spend on transportation. I mean, that's too much. Ask one question at a time. Yeah. So you're investigating existing products because you want to do better. You want to make customers, hmm, happy with something better. So what to ask customers? Where do you get this product? What else where else could you get this product? Why do you buy from so and so? How often do you buy? What price do you pay? You see, you want to know how, even the price. Huh? What do you think of the price? What do you think of the quality of the products? Is there any way you think it could be improved? This is because, you want to bring a better alternative. Okay? Yeah. For new products that you desire to introduce, you need to find out the quality that customers want. There's someone who came to this webinar and she said she started a business of supplying tissue paper and she had a lot of stock in the store, only to realize the customers, that's not the quality they want. They were complaining that her tissue paper is poor quality. You can imagine, she had already spent a lot of money buying the tissue. She had a lot of stock in the store. For sure, people coming to these webinars, you don't want to make that kind of mistake. Yeah? So find out what quality customer want. You have not yet started the business. You're just at was concept stage. Also, you need to find out what packaging they want. How do they also want it delivered? Yeah? Also find out prices that customers can afford. And if you have a sample or a picture of your product, very, very useful. You can show this to people. Maybe you are visiting a market or wherever you're visiting. Show the people that you're interviewing. You can ask them, what do they like about this new product that you're coming to introduce? What do they like? So you're going to hear all manner of comments and answers. I'm suggesting that we have a moment for comment and questions up to where we are. Any comments, questions? I think I've shared too much information. Let's hear any comments, questions, any clarification. So this is the analysis because part 1 and part 2, and especially part 2, we discuss the strategies. Yeah. So here is very, very important part also of analyzing because you're going to be bogged down. Using the strategies that we propose or we suggest, you're going to be bogged down by all manner of concepts. Yeah. So this analysis is very, very important. Any comment, any questions? Yeah. This is moment for questions, comment. I think I pause there so that